What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Oh, you guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys already know what this is, right? You have a pretty good idea. This is Greenleaf. This is season 2, episode 4 of Greenleaf. You guys, I totally was not feeling Greenleaf first season until about 4 or 5 episodes in. And now I'm pretty much, hooked on Greenleaf. I like it. I only have a couple of things that really kind of bug me a little bit, but um, I'm here for the show. I'm sold out, and I would love to hear from you guys. How you feel about season 2 in comparison to season 1? Have you guys always been diehard Greenleaf fans? And how do you feel about season 2 so far? I'd love to hear that. Go ahead and leave that in the comments down below. I'm excited about hearing your responses to my questions. Also, if you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you make sure that you're up on all of my TV reviews that I'm doing and commentary. I'd love to have you as a member of my tribe. So let me just go ahead and say welcome. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, you guys. It lets me know that you like my content, you like the work that I'm putting into my videos, and it just makes me feel good. Okay, I love to see those thumbs up. All right, you guys, let's get into it. This episode was called Revival, and we didn't get to see a whole lot of Grace. Certainly not as much as we saw last episode. And we're still kind of trying to neaten up this whole Charity and Kevin situation. And it almost appears to be fizzling out. Like, to me, it seems like everyone else's storyline is just getting going. But Kevin and Charity's storyline seems to be waning a little bit. It's almost like it's at the season finale before the show is at its season finale. So, I don't know where we're going to go with this whole Kevin Charity situation. But since we're on subject, let's go ahead and knock out Charity and Kevin, what they have going on this episode. Kevin basically wants sex, and Charity's not sure if he's serious or not. She's just like, are you sure you want to sleep with me? Like, and he's like, yeah. I don't know. I don't know where this is going with Kevin. I don't understand what's happening right now. I don't know if Kevin wants her because he kind of sees that her and Jabari have a bit of chemistry, or the fact that they are low key flirting even during praise and worship. Like, come on, Charity. Come on. You already know that you you know you with Jabari on stage doing praise and worship. Oh, you nasty, girl. You nasty. Okay. Jabari is giving me Tone tease. So, yeah. Hold that thought, Charity. You might be one of those girls. Always a beard and never a wife, right? Okay, so anyway, she says, oh, yeah, cool. And then later on, she's having chitter chatter about babysitters and all of that, and he's coming out of the bathroom all half dressed and looking all buffed and good, and she's just like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing, and she's kind of uncomfortable. She feels like it's a little too staged, and she can't do it right now, but later, I promise. And I remember thinking to myself, all right, Charity. So, like I said, then we see during this whole revival situation at Calvary, we see that Charity is on stage doing praise and worship with Jabari, and they obviously have chemistry, and whether she's wanting to admit it or not, they have a little bit of a flirtatious relationship. And later on, when Kevin questions her about it, she gets downright indignant, like loud, like outraged. Like stormed off, like I methinks thou dost protest too much, Charity. Okay, Your girl's not buying it, right? All right. So later on, after Kevin confronts her and she storms off, he comes back and apologizes. I mean, Kevin's just a good guy. I mean, he's just a nice guy, point blank, period. And I just personally think he can do better than Charity. I think he needs to cut his losses with Charity and move forward. At this point, you're going to spend every moment trying to get her approval, and I just don't think it's worth it. I just don't. Um, we see Charity announcing Mary, and this is one of the only time that we really get to see Jacob during this episode. Mary is on stage. Heaven, I wanna go heaven. And he is watching from his laptop the live stream of the revival, and Carissa walks up and she says, what are you watching? And he's like, I'm watching Calvary. I don't even know why I'm watching. And she says, I don't know either. And she closes the laptop down. Yeah. So that's the only time we get to see Jacob. And he does appear to miss his church and miss his family. So then we see later on that after the apology, Kevin is trying to, warm back up to Charity in a moment of spontaneity, which is something that she implied that she wanted, and she is just over it. She is, this is just a note for any of you males out there, any of my male subscribers. Anytime a woman is like this, or it's not working. It's not working for her. That is a international symbol for back up. Like, no. Like, ugh. So just FYI. And she tells him, she just can't. She can't pretend, and it's over. And I have to say, he didn't seem as devastated as I thought he was going to be. I don't know. Kevin and Charity, this first season, they really gave the appearance that they were just super great friends. And I don't know if it was the shock of finding out that he had these proclivities. But I can certainly understand the relationship ending, but the friendship, it just seems like it would be something that would be a little bit harder to just end. And the fact that they aren't having more in-depth conversations really about his feelings, her feelings, why they're having them, just trying to kind of weigh out what's best for their it's an odd relationship. The two of them together, for me, just doesn't work anymore as a couple. It's just so later on he goes to her and he asks her, what will we tell people, and she says, I don't know, we'll figure something out. So yeah, let's move on to Grace. Grace is chilling at a welcome party, dinner party that Lady Mae and Bishop are having to welcome the host of their revival, the headlining minister, whose name is Lionel, and she introduces her pastor friend to Sophia. And then later on we see her at the party laughing and talking with some other random ladies, and this pastor friend, and Sophia learns that Grace was in a pseudo singing group with Faith, this pastor friend of hers, and and it's all very fascinating to Sophia. Grace doesn't seem necessarily as excited about Sophia finding this information out. Um, then we see her once again with her obsession, which is sitting outside of Mac's apartment, and Mac is coming out of his apartment with a date. And I'm thinking to myself, who is this woman that doesn't mind that Mac's picture is all over the city, and doesn't mind that he's been accused. Like, how is it that this woman doesn't know? But nonetheless, he gives this woman a kiss. I guess we should just thank our lucky stars that it is an adult woman. And lady gets on in the car. Grace gets out. Mac isn't even in the house good. Grace gets out right there and, knocks on the lady's window all frantic and crazy. And I have to tell you something. And, she's trying to tell this woman that Mac is a sex offender and, all of this stuff, and stay away from him. And it's really, it's odd. He pulls Grace away, and this woman is, seemingly frightened and all of that. I don't know. It was a weird moment. And we see that Mac is kind of frustrated with the fact that Grace is basically harassing him. And he tells her, he said, I'm trying to turn my life around, and you call yourself a Christian. And she's actually stunned. Like, she's actually, she seems a little ashamed of her behavior. For the record, I have no idea what a sex offender, a child abuser, a child molester could say to me that would make me feel bad. Like, no. You don't, no. No. And we see that, Grace and her pastor friend are talking, and she's telling her friend that her dad's doing real good preaching right now. I don't know that Grace's whole is really sold out to preaching again. I think she's got bigger fish to fry. I would love to see Grace in law, but obviously the goal is to get Grace back on the pulpit. And I think Grace would be a lot more excited about preaching again and being in the pulpit and being back at Calvary if Lady Mae wasn't there. I think Lady Mae puts a bad taste in the whole process, in the whole experience for Grace. Honest to goodness. Yes, she's got this Mac thing on her mind, and she wants to seek justice not only for these girls but for her poor sister Faith. But I do think a huge reason, part of the reason why she does not want to get involved with this whole preaching thing, and she's not totally sold out on it, is because of Lady Mae. Lady Mae has been a real itch to her, and to me, it's not worth the trouble, in my opinion. So I'm sure she feels that way to a certain degree. We see that the secretary comes in while she's talking to her friend about all of this, and there's some officers there. These random Tyler Perry officers that we've seen a million times, like one uniform officer and one officer that looks like a detective. Like, and they want to sort of warn Grace that Mac is upset. He feels like he's being harassed, and he just wants you to stay away. And you can't go within 100 feet of his house, and just all this old crazy stuff. Like, it wasn't believable. My thing is that Grace tells them, hey, he raped my sister, and they say that's not even the discussion at hand right now, just kind of stay away. And Grace puts up with that. Like, I don't know, sometimes last week Grace seemed like, the fighter and the just like she was just fully committed. She was full of tenacity. This episode, I don't know if it was what Max said to her about, you call yourself a Christian, or what. She just seems like she's had just a little bit of the wind taken out of her sails on this episode. She doesn't seem as full on committed to this Mac thing. She doesn't seem to have the same energy in this thing, and it's odd to me. It really, really is odd. I kept waiting for Grace to address it, address what was really, really happening with her, and we never really got any resolve to that. Later on, we see Sophia looking at a video of her mom's singing group, this pastor friend of hers, of course, Faith. And when she comes in and sees Sophia watching it, and she sits down and she watches, and Grace looks sad, probably because she's seeing her sister and she's seeing the potential of her sister, and maybe she's thinking to herself, was Mac raping her then? You know, or she knew that he was raping her then. You know, I don't know. We never really get any in-depth conversation or storytelling about what's happening with Grace this episode. What are some things that she's feeling this episode? I kind of missed that from her. There was just these little moments where she just seemed to be floundering, and her character just seemed to be floundering. You guys let me know what you think. I don't know. We do get to see Sophia come up in an emotional moment. She wants to be baptized, and her granddad, the bishop, baptizes her, and then she comes and she talks to her mom about it afterwards, and she wants to describe to her mom how it felt, and her mom says, oh, I would love to hear it. And she says, the only word I can use to describe it is infinite. And Grace is like, okay, I can accept that. That's pretty good. You know, so that was Grace and a little bit of Sophia. This episode opened with Lady Mae, and Bishop has invited his very, very good friend Lionel down to lead this revival, and also to talk to Lionel a little bit about what's going on over there with Basie Skanks, with this whole Daryl James situation, and he's my daddy situation. And Lady Mae is preparing this beautiful, beautiful party at their home. They have lots of guests that are going to participate in the revival, and they are all there. And I'm just going to put this out there. You guys tell me if you agree or not. Does anyone else think that it's weird that Lady Mae and Bishop have all of these servants that are dressed in these black and white servant outfits? Like, is it me, or is it like Gone with the Wind type tees? Like, why are they wearing white gloves and they standing around? I could see having a housekeeper, I could see having a house manager, but you guys are so big and so powerful and so magnificent that you just got a house full of servants, and they all dressed in these uniforms. Like, who is doing that nowadays? Like, who is doing that? I don't even know. It's odd. You guys let me know what you think. Bishop comes in singing, and he's excited about going to pick his friend up. He goes to pick his friend up from the airport. On there, they have this conversation about Lionel's wife, Patrice, and I don't know if Patrice is passed or if she is bedridden, if she has Alzheimer's, if she's in a nursing home. I don't know. But we assume that she has passed on, and Bishop is sad about it, but, he's able to forge ahead. On the way back to the Bishop's house, Lionel sees a billboard with Jacob's face on it, and they kind of have a little bit of conversation about it. Bishop really doesn't necessarily want to talk about it, of course. They get there to the house, and of course Bishop says, Mae is going to be so excited to see you. And Bishop gets distracted and is talking to someone else. Lionel is standing there in the foyer, and he looks over and sees Lady Mae, and Lady Mae sees him, and she has a crazy look on her face. I was like, oh, here we go with this. Um, so they meet in the library, and while she's in front of Bishop, she really pretends that she is so happy to see Pastor Lionel. When Bishop walks off, they obviously have had an affair. She's like, "What are you doing here? I don't understand. Why would you come?" And he's like, "Look, I'm just gonna do the revival, and I'm gonna get up out of here." Um, and for as snappy as she acted, as we go on in the episode, it is clear that she at some point must have had feelings for Lionel. Maybe it was while he was married to Patrice. Maybe it was before Bishop and Lady Mae got together. It's just something going on with the two of them, and whatever it is making Lady Mae sad and look off longingly into the distance and become slightly distracted. We see Bishop talking to Lionel in his office, and he's telling the story about Skanks and Daryl James, and he wants to get his advice. And Bishop or Pastor Lionel has a son that works in zoning. Bring him over, and we're going to see. I can call him over, and we're going to see if there's something he can do to sort of hold up the process or help us out with the process. And so everybody's like okay with that. Like everybody's okay with this type of behavior, this type of activity. Like it's a little odd, right? It's a little odd and underhanded, and it's truly not very Christian like. But let's carry on. So Bishop tells Mae that he's got something that's gonna work. He thinks is gonna work to shut Skanks down. And neither of them really care about Jacob at this point, or the fact that it's an ethical issue for them to be doing this. They seem to be in complete cahoots. And isn't this the same shit that got Daryl James killed years ago at the first church? Like, anyway. We see Mae and Lionel talking later on again, and she says, "What do you think you're doing? The whole thing is a mistake." And he says, "Hey, if you want me to call my son Aaron, I can call him off." And she says, "No, keep that going." And there is clearly a bit of affection between the two of them. She clearly likes him, and he clearly likes her. He's telling her, because she's kind of admonishing him for being there, for being present, and she wants to know if he's got some ulterior motive for helping the bishop and helping them, and why would you take his call just because he called you? Why would you come? Like she's giving him the business while at the same time looking at him longingly. It's odd. And he says, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna preach my sermon tonight, and I'm gonna go on about my way, and you don't have to worry about me." And she's like, "Fine, good." But later on, when she's talking to Bishop, and he's telling her he's taking his pills, and she's like, "Good," and she starts crying, and he says, "Oh, I hate to see you sad." He thinks she's sad about the whole Basie Skanks type stick thing, but I think she's crying because of Lionel. I think she's crying because Lionel is her true love, and she don't like to think about it. That's what I think. So they're back at church. It's time for Pastor Lionel to go on, and they are praying. And in walks Aaron Jeffries, who is Lionel Jeffries' son. He talks to them about, after the service, he talks to them about what are some things that he can do. And basically he can try to file a temporary injunction, which will slow the building process down. And it may you know, the injunction may fall short, but you just keep filing injunctions that are going to just keep blocking the project. And you know, he says to Lady Mae and Bishop, if we can do this now, if you guys sure you want to go through with it. In front of everyone, Lady Mae says, oh, no, we're going to do this. We're definitely going to go through with this. And they agree, you know, whatever Lady Mae says, Bishop is going to do anyway. And at that moment, I felt humongously sad for Lady Mae that this is the route that you're taking with all of your children. I mean, why lead with love and kindness when you can just be a royal bee? But, you know, the hell with family, but you'll give Lionel some affection. That's crazy. Let's see here. Okay, so, you know, Bishop is doing an altar call. Sophia comes up, and it's kind of a cute moment. We see that when Sophia comes up, Grace comes up as well, and there's this moment where Sophia, Grace, and her dad are hugging, and this is the touching moment that all altar calls are made of. And we see him baptize Sophia, and it's one of the few moments you feel like Bishop is okay, but we all know that Bishop and Lady Mae, they stay up to some stuff. We see that, you know, Lionel is leaving, and he and Lady Mae are seeing, Bishop and Lady Mae are seeing Lionel off, and they decide they want to take Sophia to lunch at Iris. And it was at that point that my stream went out again, so I'm not really sure what happened right after that. You guys let me know down below. But that's basically the end of the episode. It wasn't a whole lot. There was just a couple of 2-3 nuggets left out there, like what really went on with Lionel and Lady Mae. What's going on with Grace, you guys? What is Kevin and Charity gonna do? Is Charity truly going to let Kevin go on about his business, and not punish him and hold his feet to the fire because he's made this life choice? Is Kevin going to be able to just relax, let it go, and live his life? Is he going to leave the church? We don't know. Okay, so next week's episode hopefully will sort some things out for us. I didn't get a chance to see the reviews, obviously, because my stream went down. But, yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, this whole injunction situation between Calvary and Triumph is going to be a hot mess. Okay? And I can't wait to see how it all pans out. And we are obviously getting a little bit closer to finding out who's in that grave that everybody is standing around. Fingers crossed that it is not Oprah. Okay, you guys, that's it for me. That's it for Greenleaf. You guys go ahead and remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Give me a thumbs up. Please comment down below. And, of course, as always, share my video. Until next time, you guys, I'll holla.